India's real estate industry could face its next big change in less than a year, as the Goods and Service Tax Council will take up a proposal to bring it under the uniform nationwide levy. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said this week that there is a strong case to include real estate in the new indirect tax regime. That comes as the industry recovers after the new Real Estate Regulation and Development Act was rolled out to safeguard home buyers' interests. So just how big a change could this bring about to the real estate sector? I'm going to start with my colleague Purva Chitnis, who's joining us to give us an idea of what the sector is expecting. Purva?
Yes, Tamanna. The real estate industry has largely welcomed the finance minister's proposal, but they're still waiting to see the details. Now, currently, the real estate transaction face the stamp duty as well as the registration taxes, which vary from state to state. But if it is brought under GST, then there will be just uniform taxes across the country. Also, remember that currently home buyers pay a 12% GST for the under construction properties, and ready-to-move-in apartments are exempted from this. So the experts that we spoke to said that the impact could only be, the impact could be dependent on how the government implements it. Santosh Dalvi of KPMG said that if the entire industry is brought under GST, then the government will have to abolish the stamp duty, which means the centre will have to devise a way to compensate states for the revenue loss. Also, the Anuj Puri of...
some complications, and in fact, let's understand that a bit more from MS Money, partner Deloitte, who's joining us now in the studios for more on the story. Mani, how do you see the impact? Will the real estate sector now, it will be the third big change for them, but how does it impact industry as well as eventually prices for the end consumer?
Okay, so the first point, Tamanna, over here is the fact that what the finance minister has said, to my mind, is a statement of intention. It's a statement of intention, and at this stage, I don't believe we should get into the mechanics of it because it's too premature. Now, as a statement of intention, what does it mean? It means two things to me. First and foremost, it means that transactions in land, which today being immobile property are not subjected to GST, will fall under GST. Second, stamp duty, which is a tax outside the purview of GST collected by states, will become part of GST. In addition to both of these, there are registration charges which are levied by various states. That also becomes a part of GST. So this is what it means at a broad level. Now, states have to be brought on board. Now, we have to bear in mind that as far as land is concerned in India, that's a state subject. It's not a central subject. So the ability of the central government to legislate on things to do with land is very, very restricted.
Having said
states have to be brought on board. That's going to take time. That's not an easy task. And therefore, that is the reason why I said what the finance minister has said, to my mind, is very welcome, because it means people are thinking ahead.
Okay, but you know, even as we say that it's that far ahead, let's look at the timelines for the rest of the things that have been said and actually done, starting with GST itself. It was stuck for a long time. It has been implemented.
Yes,
there have been changes. So, you know, I don't know those timelines. But, you know, Niranjan Hiranandani is on the phone line with us, co-founder and MD of the Hiranandani Group. Are you welcoming real estate under the goods and service tax, Mr. Hiranandani, and what does it mean for prices for the end consumer at the end of the day?
I think it's a welcome step, because we have continued to be able to get revolutionary things happen in this year. We got GST, we've got RERA, we got demonetization, we got the bankruptcy bill, we got all these things in one shot. So I think we have got a hell of a lot, and I think it's a very, very positive move into it. There are two aspects of it besides whatever I heard just now to add on to whatever I think we need to do. Number one is the fact that GST was supposed to be revenue neutral in the case of property matters. The reality is not so. Today, minimum 3.5% is the escalation of costs because of introduction of GST, even if you look at the set-outs. And it can go up to 5.5% in terms of those properties. So when you said that GST coming in is revenue neutral, after making all the set-offs that are possible to do, that's not happened. And so there is an escalation in taxes and costs which are taking place.
Okay.
Now, if tomorrow you're going to increase it and bring land into this debt and bring it up, today stamp duty and other registration charges is 5 plus 1%, about 6 to 7% maximum in any state. If you're going to charge on land 12% tax and you're going to subsume 7%, 6 or 7%, depending on the states that you are in, then again you'll have a further escalation on the land cost of 5%.
Okay.
Now, basically, if you're talking about rationalization of taxes and there is no increase in taxes, that's on the plenary level at 35,000 feet. And that's at the level of the finance minister. When the nitty-gritties are actually getting done, the idea is totally the opposite. The implementation increases the rates of taxes. And today, if you look at all the things and costs there, we are paying almost 30% tax after you count local and other taxes also.
You know, I just want to get...
I'm not happy. I'm very happy with the ideas.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the finance minister's thought.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about all the 4 things that have happened this year.
All right.
But when you come to execution of these things, the costs will go up again, and that is my fear. So if you can guarantee that it won't increase, which was guaranteed under GST, it has not happened.
So Niranjan Hiranandani is happy but cautious, I would say, a little anxious about impact of cost. What do you think?
Okay, so the way I look at it is, I started out by saying that what is there is a statement of intention and we should worry about the mechanics later. And to what I would like to add by saying is that the initial experiences that we have had on GST should not make us feel that we are going to continue having these experiences in future as well. Because in GST, just bear in mind, this is the largest tax reform undertaken anywhere in the world. There's no country in the world which has undertaken a tax reform of this magnitude. Now, I'll come to the implementation.
Land costs.
Yeah. Now, how precisely it will affect the land cost? Will there be a differentiation between low-cost housing and normal housing and premium housing? To what extent will there be an abatement for land cost? Today, we have a 33% abatement for land cost. Will that be sufficient or insufficient depending on the city? Now, this abatement that we have for land cost today is a common abatement all over the country. But as we all know, the land cost in places like Mumbai and Delhi and Bangalore is different from the tier 2 cities. So will there be a distinction when that is included in the ambit of GST? These are matters where I believe we should wait and watch when the government comes out with it. I don't see anything happening at least for the next 3 months to 6 months. So whatever has happened now, there will need to be a broad level consensus built in. The states will have to be brought on board. The GST Council will have to debate. Then we need a process of amending the law in Parliament. Then the law will have to be amended. So we are talking of something which is going to happen maybe 6 months down the line at the earliest. And I would expect that all of us at this stage should take into account the fact that the experiences that we have had till now on GST may not be the experiences we have 6 months down the line, because by that time the government will also be wiser and they'll also have the experience of dealing with GST.
So by the time, Mr. Hiranandani, the short point there, that by the time real estate comes into the ambit of GST, a lot of more experience would have been had and perhaps the implementation would be smoother?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree entirely with the fact that we hope that this will be more positive than it has been. Because the problem is, today you have shaken up the industry, and if you have more shakes in the next 1 year and not allow the industry to stabilize, and you bring further changes that are going to take place, then my worry is that we have not yet got used to the idea of what has already happened in this year, and we shouldn't continue these shake-ups one after the other. I wish we had brought the totality of GST on the land issue simultaneously with GST, so that we would have had a one-time show. Because these regular, continuous changes which are taking place add tsunami after tsunami, and it becomes extremely difficult. That is a difficulty.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
You want to do something, do it, and do it in one shot and
one
finish
go, like ripping off a band-aid.
Because every 4 months
I know,
have a new law.
Exactly. I mean, demonetization, RERA, GST, and then, Mani has the last word on that.
Yeah, I would just say that it's a point of view in terms of, if you're operating on a patient, do you want to do one surgery after the other? Do you want to do all the surgeries together? Because possibly if you do all the surgeries together, the patient may not survive. Yeah. So you may need to stabilize the patient by doing the most essential surgery and then do the other surgeries which are, relatively less complex in nature.
Well, let's hope, taking that analogy forward, that the real estate sector is now out of the ICU and on its way to recovery. But thank you so much, Mr. Hiranandani and Mani, for speaking to us. Real estate under GST might be some time away, but everyone is already wondering how it will impact the sector as well as the empire. That's all the time we have for Prime Time Debate this evening. Thank you for joining us.